usual here, and as you can see in the pic, I'm gonna start actually doing my first argument kill what if, or rather a what if Tatsumi, and I will be going based on the lore of, rather based on the manga instead of the anime, because I've seen mostly that people that have done these argument kill what ifs base it on the anime, but the manga is, in my opinion, better. I've read it before, currently rereading it, gotten pretty far as well, and there's a certain arc in the manga that weren't included in the anime, which I thought was pretty sad, but as well a few key details were left out in the anime than that they were in the manga. Like, as mentioned for the anime, the ending is completely different, but I don't want to spoil it, so I would recommend you reading the manga. You could watch the anime as well, but you would get most out of it by watching rather reading the manga. But yeah, this first Tatsumi what if Tatsumi joined Night Raid earlier than he did in canon. I would like to start off with a few things, like explaining Tatsumi won't grow up the same place he did as in canon. He'll grow up in, his childhood would actually be similar to Estef's, like he would grow up in a northern tribe, rather it would be a tribe far further north than Estef's tribe were. So, one sec. There we go. So, Tatsumi would from an early age learn about the weak won't survive, only the strong survives. So he gets that mindset. He would be a bit different from other normal people because he has his soul is actually stronger, like it grows with his strength for some reason which will be important later. And he joins the hunt from an early age as well, joining his father, who in this case, let's say, would be the leader of a tribe. Like, for the sake of convenience, let's say it was the tribe that actually went and offed Esther's tribe, which he was the lone survivor of. And Tatsumi did actually join in on that, killing them, and he would have gained some of the sadistic tendencies because they were weaker than him, so it didn't really matter. But still, he had learned to find how to kill an animal most efficient way possible because he had joined the hunt and stuff like that, and taking the beast core. But he, at one point while he was out hunting by himself, he had been told out that these beast cores were valuable to sell and stuff, but he thought, why not try and see if it could be eaten or something. So he tries it without really much luck, but so he decides to save a beast core for himself to somewhat expand because it piqued his curiosity a bit. Like, is it only good to just sell and be used as material for making weapons? Could it be used for something else a bit? So he would often go solo hunting because he wanted to face stronger and stronger dangerous beasts, like higher beasts with higher danger levels than normal. And he would have trained a lot because he might not have looked like it, but he was nimble and fast, but still very strong. He mainly used a sword, or rather a dagger at first, to kill. He had both a dagger and a sword on him to kill the danger beasts. He liked to be up close and personal and fighting and try and see if we can find a joy in the battle. So he technically has some of the same personality traits as Steph. Like, he likes to battle, like the feel of the battle. So a bit, let's say, let's say, gotta pause this real quick. Okay, there's some additional things I would like to add. Like, Tatsumi have been born earlier, so his age would be a little bit closer to Estef, just to make this work. Like, so that's what I want to add. And the tribe he was a part of, or rather, more of a clan, that was like Estef's clan, focused on hunting these danger beasts, but they hunted far and north with higher class danger levels from class 1 to special classes. This clan were more well trained to do it, which is also why Tatsumi would be a lot stronger, and even for his young age, he would be known in the clan as one of the strongest. Let's say he decided as something special for himself that he would want to hunt down a special class danger beast by himself. And he goes off, like he actually does it without really getting permission. He just goes off and decides to track let's see what would be a good one. Anubis, which is mentioned in the spin-off Alchemical Kill Zero, which can be read. It's a danger beast that takes a kind that has the appearance of some kind of wolf or dog with an immense body covered with hair in some parts, neck and stuff. It might look a little bit like a werewolf, something, but more beastly. It's said to be a divine beast. Oh, right. No, it would live in more of harder countries. So it wouldn't really be problematic. Let's say instead of the newbies, he would try and go for Viren, which, as we all know, Viren looks like a dragon, but it ain't really a dragon, a lower class of dragon. So he tries to hunt down, or rather locate, a Viren. They were very few in numbers, but they were rarely seen. And normally he wouldn't really try and hunt one down. But Tatsumi decided to take up this challenge himself and would go out and hunt it. His clothing were fit so he could hide in the surrounding area. So it was all white fur from a lower class danger beast that collected and used the fur as material. And he goes off, and let's scratch the idea of the thing where he joins in on the killing of. Wait, no, they still kill them, but while he's going after this after Viren, unknown to him, his clan back at home gets annihilated after encountering Imperials. The an Imperial army at some point, and they straight out get slaughtered, to be honest. And Tatsumi doesn't know this. He will first find it out when he returns from his hunt, if he survives at least. And he was, after a couple of days of walking, he stumbled upon lower level danger beasts. Killed one or two for the food during the travel, so he would have more rations for the long trip. And he decided not really to take the fur with him, but at the same time he thought it could be useful, so he decided to skin the animals and then take the fur with him. Of course, it would take longer, his trip would be longer, but he decided to, start to work on the fur to get it processed for himself, so it could be used for something at least, even though it was cold. He still managed, because of the skills he had picked up, to neatly make he ends up having just a fur coat, an extra fur coat or two, because of the two danger beasts. He decides not to take the claws, but he eats the meat and takes the beast cores from the beasts. He has sometimes before killed beasts while they were alive, because then the beast core would be most fresh and useful. They wouldn't really lose its power if it's taken out while the animal is still alive. So he has, again, a bit of a sadistic side. He somehow manages to find tracks of, not really tracks, rather the tracks, he finds signs of a big danger beast. He hasn't really seen a Viren, but only gathered a little bit from while in the tribe, in the clan, he's gathered a little bit info on the Viren's appearance and stuff, so he knows what it looks like, and it has been documented the tracks it leaves behind if you want to follow one. But how to defeat it weren't really described, because that was lost for them. Not really lost, but they didn't know it. only know a bit of their parents and stuff. So he knew what to look for at least. And he managed to stumble upon some tracks or evidence that a Viren was nearby. And this Viren seemed kinda young, like a young one, not too tall, not too big. And Tatsumi thought, this one seems to be young. But our clan hasn't really been able to really hunt down a Viren and document and write down how to defeat one, so I probably should be a bit careful when I fight it, but it would probably be enjoyable to fight it, test out my skills. So he begins to follow these tracks slash hints of a Viren being nearby. While following them, he gets to a mountain, or rather a higher mountain range, and from the looks of it, it seems like there might have been a battle occurring or a little skirmish between danger beasts. And he thinks, I wonder, could the Viren have been involved? So, if that in mind, he decides to check the area, the place of the skirmish, and he finds evidence that a Viren had been in a skirmish with another danger beast that Tatsumi couldn't really put a finger on what it was. So he continues his walk, or continues to track down the Viren, and goes up the mountainside, crawls up, and he actually, he did notice something that looked like a sleeping danger beast that somewhat fit the description of a Viren, but he couldn't really tell, because the pictures, or rather the sketches of the Viren that had been written down, showed it mid-flight. So he couldn't really tell, but the head shape of this danger beast seems to match a Viren. So he decided to go up and use or get higher up to surprise it. Yeah, his strength at the moment is actually really powerful, but with his skill set alone, he would normally only be able to by himself take on a class 1 danger beast and easily defeat it. But a special class, he didn't know yet. But he could be able to defeat a special class danger beast if it weren't a flying type one that could fly and keep its distance and attack from a distance. So in this case, Tatsumi was actually pretty lucky to have stumbled upon what seemed to be a sleeping Viren, and he decides it would be good to take advantage of this fact to at least get a kill and see if we can use the material. He gets up high, a bit further up the mountain, and crawls closer. He doesn't know if it can smell or sense him, but he doesn't want to be too careless, and checks the wind direction. He can clearly see which where the wind blows comes from. And he sees that at the moment it's advantageous for him if he does a sneak attack. So he decides to jump off as quietly but still as efficiently as possible while having his sword out and aims for the head. He comes down with enough force to actually... No, he doesn't go for the head. He goes for one of the wing sides where it was. Say, jumps off, ready to slash down, and the moment he's about to hit one of the wings, the wyvern actually wakes up and spreads out the wings, begins to move. But Tatsumi is lucky enough to cut off one of the wings. But he did feel resistance. So he managed to make it a ground battle against this wyvern. And at the moment, Tatsumi would be... let's see, one second. Okay. I might add a little different why, as an explanation why Tatsumi's soul is growing stronger. Basically, he doesn't know it, but he has an ability, rather a hidden ability that's unique to him. Rather, it's something his ancestors once had, which was ability to somewhat absorb dead or the souls of danger beasts. So it would go. So Tatsumi's soul would grow stronger for each kill of danger beasts. For each danger beast is killed, so he's been close to. None of his clans has this unique ability, but Tatsumi has it. So each time he's been with on hunts and stuff, even and his soul has grown stronger by absorbing the dead danger beast's souls, and it also boosts his strength, which is why currently while he's fighting the super class, or rather special class danger beast, he is strong enough to somewhat not go toe-to-toe, but he would have a tough battle against a special class danger beast on the ground. So he's pretty lucky to have been able to disable its flight and escape route, or escape ability to fly away if it wanted to, or use disguise to attack from and swoop down and get him. So that's why he's pretty lucky there, at least. He isn't really young at this point. He is about, let's say, 13 to 14 when he has that kind of strength. Yes, it seems unreasonable, but it's a what if, So, I can always say use plot convenience and add things, but I will try and make it as simple and keep it mostly at that for explaining how he grows so strong so fast. A deadly battle between Tatsumi and his wyvern begins. He gets hit a couple of times with a wyvern uses other wing arms / claws to strike at Tatsumi and bite at him, but he managed to narrowly dodge out of the way using his speed and battle instincts. So while he even dodges, he managed to sometimes counter attack and cuts the wing a bit outside. And at one point, while battle's going on, it's gone on for an hour, and Tatsumi is actually getting a bit exhausted. The Vyron is actually also exhausted because it's losing blood from the missing wing side, and Tatsumi thinks it probably won't be a good idea to drag it out for too long because it seems to be getting more and more desperate with its attacks. So Tatsumi decides to go for the killing blow, or at least try to finish off the Wyvern. And he waits, trying to see if he can wait for the opportunity when the Wyvern decides to strike at him. Which it does at one point. The Wyvern actually attacks by lunging at him, at Tatsumi. And Tatsumi had someone predicted that it would go for such an attack. So he actually steps aside as quickly as possible, nearly avoiding the Wyvern's charge, and he then swings his sword upwards and uses the Wyvern's forward momentum to cut. So he gets underneath, rather he's gotten to the side and then moves back in under while kneeling a bit, leaning forward and trying to slash at the stomach and he managed to use the Vyron's forward momentum to cut the stomach side, the underside open, which was its some weak spot where it had less. The skin was more thin than other parts. It was less defended, so he managed to cut open its belly side while charged forward. So it managed to land a fatal blow on the Wyvern, and Tatsumi went in for the killing blow as fast as he could, because now the Wyvern was in pain and was a little bit dazed. So Tatsumi quickly finished off the Wyvern by plunging his sword into its head and actually managed to kill it. So he had actually managed to kill a special class beast. Yeah, he could have maybe tried to save him, but he isn't strong enough yet to literally overpower a Wyvern. Like pure skill, he doesn't have any Tegus, or commonly known as Imperial Arms. He hasn't encountered those yet, but he has heard of them. But he thinks that it's better to use one's own body and train it up. But at some point he would still see the benefit. He still acknowledges the benefits of an Imperial Arm or Tegu, but he doesn't think that there would be one suitable for him, because he tries to adapt to his surroundings. Like, if he goes on a real hunt that ain't like this kind, where he just literally wants to kill a Wyvern. If it was under normal circumstances, if the clan was with him and had gotten permission to go on, and they would have actually started first gathering more information, like watching it to see what it does, its patterns, its behavioral patterns, and see if it was a more, aggressive type or what would piss it off. But he hadn't done that because he wanted the feel of the battle, like the challenge. But he does think that this was a little bit too close for comfort, because the one had done some. It actually had damaged Tatsumi pretty good. Like, cut him up pretty good somewhere. Someplace like over the chest area. So, he uses the fur that he had carried with him. Or no, because on the belly he had actually cast it aside. And went over and picked it up and used the fur as, not using the fur, but he had bandages with him, and he started to quickly bandage up his wounds that he had, and went over and took the core from the beast, from the wyvern, and then he would keep it, but he felt, normally he wouldn't feel this kind, he didn't feel the sensation that he remembered feeling before during childhood while he was in the first hunt of his clan, where he was allowed to join a hunt of his clan. And he got this feeling like he became more powerful after the Danger Beast died, and he thought, could this be what his stories, could this be that ability that my descendants once had possessed, the ability to absorb beast souls, the souls of the dead beast that's been slain. He wonders that, and he might think it's possible because he feels stronger, and it's because it is a wyvern, a special class. It's the first one he's killed, not the first one he's encountered. He's seen some from afar, few, but he then decides to cut off the meat and drink, and eat the flesh. He didn't really have any water. He would have to, have some stuff to cook the water, some utilities to cook the water, and he didn't really do it because he found out that he could, somehow he was able to get the nourishment, like water liquid, this quenches thirst of blood from the danger beast somehow, which he found strange, but it is linked to his clan's special ability that the descendants once had. So he drinks the blood of the wyvern, and he feels a little more invigorated, a little more healthy. His wounds start to close up a little bit faster. And this most only will happen if he kills a special class or higher danger beast. The effect is minor if it's like a class 1 or 2 danger beast. So, but he doesn't really know. He decides to try and cut up the wyvern in pieces enough to drag it along. He takes the head, he hasn't carved the body up completely, but he doesn't know if he's strong enough to take the whole thing with him. So he decides to chop off the head, and take out the brain and eat it on the spot because he thought he wanted to celebrate his victory. So he wanted to have the most, juiciest meat parts, but he didn't know what would be the juiciest part. He didn't know that the brain had a lot of nourishment and stuff, so he did eat it as well. But he tried not to, damage his trophy, the head. So after he gets done dissecting it, somewhat removing the important parts, the flesh, and eating, he had a big appetite at the moment because he was tired, so he literally ate not most of meat because a wyvern is fucking big, but he ate the more important parts that he knew somewhat had an idea would have the best flavor. he had managed to gather like firewood as well to use, and he started cooking the meat and eating it. And that's why I would think I will. Let's see, what's the timer like? 35 minutes? Should it go on? Maybe. But yeah, let's go on for a bit. So Tatsumi decides to get some sleep and rest. And while he's resting, he can feel that his body is growing a bit stronger because of the hidden ability. But he doesn't mind it because he's felt it sometimes before, a few times only. Fuck, my cigarette went out. So yeah, when Tatsumi wakes up again, he feels, revitalized, and he had felt like he had, fresh energy again to go on. So he cut off the head and cut off, the claws of the dragon, bound them, used the extra fur coat to bundle it up in, and then he actually managed to drag the head back to the camp, back to the clan where the clan usually were located. It took him a couple of days. He still had to fight off some, but strangely enough, there weren't any danger beasts really attacking him. What's this? They're really attacking him. So I thought, weird. Should have been more. But once he gets to the place, after a couple of days of traveling, he gets to the camp, but what he sees is almost the same as what Esther saw. Like the whole clan was destroyed, and they saw dead bodies everywhere. He didn't really find any. He didn't find any survivors. Wait, he did find one, but this clansman tribesman was close to death, and he told what happened, and Deku, or not Deku, fuck me, brain fart. No, my Tatsumi thought, just said like, they were stronger than us, so it's only natural for the strong to kill the weak. It just means that I will have to be on my own now. And Tatsumi decides to stay a bit at the camp and eats the rest of the head. Like, he doesn't know what to do with it, but he decides it's probably a good idea to just eat the rest of the meat on the head and just use the cranium of the dragon as a trophy. Removes all the flesh and starts eating the rest of it. And he decides to just continue to hunt danger beasts elsewhere. I think that's a good place to leave off the first part 0. I hope you enjoyed it. It's the first one I've made of Dark Mega Kill. Trying to do it differently from what the storyline is of the manga as well, and make it a bit more interesting. So I hope you guys enjoyed. So see you guys.